Now, how about them damn Celtics?
All right. We're here. Recap for How About Them Celtics, or not How About Them Celtics, Celtics versus Wizards. This is How About Them Celtics. I'm Sam LaFrance. I'm here with Cam Tabat. He's here for Jack. Jack, who had a dinner with friends tonight, the monthly roommate dinner. It's a big event, much bigger than Celtics Wizards, which was the most nothing game of the season so far. But you should stick around. So I'm going to break it down for you just in case you didn't watch it, because very understandable if you didn't. Cam, how are we doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I was going up against a good slate of NFL games. It's also the case that right now this Celtics team might finish with a top 10 point differential in NBA history. And the Wizards, according to Sean Grandi, have the worst point differential in NBA history. So it might be a historically good game to miss and have dinner with your roommates.
Yes, completely agree. I texted him mid-game and I was like, you picked the perfect game. Like, this is the most nothing game. But there was one big looming story from this game, emphasis on big. Kristaps left the game before halftime with a apparent heel injury. The injury happened on the same leg that he strained his soleus, not the same leg that he hurt his ankle in the finals. But a little bit of updates coming after the game where Kristaps was like, I just bumped my heel. Don't feel too bad. He isn't sure if he's going to miss time. Having dealt with a soleus strain yourself, do you have any initial feelers on the injury? Do you have anything you would like to provide insight-wise on that?
Yeah, you picked the right guy. I will say Bobby Kravitsky from Forbes pointed out that NBC Sports Boston caught Kristaps kind of like grimacing during pregame warmups. I'm not aware of anyone asking Kristaps about that, but maybe he was already uncomfortable because the idea that he banged his heels sounds odd. I feel like someone, the consensus was no one really saw any one play where he got injured. And I feel like you would notice if someone banged their heel in a weird way. So I'm not buying it. I said that in the chat. This is my read on it. So the soleus is the muscle that sits in the lower part of the calf that basically like does the support of the Achilles. So like a lot of the lift that the Achilles does is aided by the soleus. And if the soleus is tight, it feels like you're in a lot of pain. So when Porzingis had that injury against Miami, again, important to point out, it's not the foot that he had surgery on, it's the other leg. Everyone thought he had an Achilles injury because when the soleus is tight, it tightens up and then it pulls on the Achilles and it feels like an Achilles injury right around where your ankle meets your heel, meets your foot. So my guess is he is feeling pain related to that soleus and they don't want to call it that because saying Porzingis is dealing with the same injury that he dealt with that caused him to miss however many weeks of the postseason doesn't sound as good as right heel pain. But it's also the case that it just means that his soleus is a little tight. It doesn't mean he has anything lingering or long-term. So that is, I'm not in Washington. I'm here in Brookline. Like that is purely based on me and what my physical therapist tells me about my soleus strain. So I would not aggregate that and turn that into the news, but that would be my best guess is more than one other time this season, he's going to miss a game or look uncomfortable because he just has chicken legs. Like he doesn't have, the muscle is either not long enough or not strong enough or both. In his case, it's probably long enough, I would have to guess. But he's got those skinny little legs and probably that's the problem. So it's like, it can't be a nothing burger for a dude who has like torn his ACL and had a foot injury no one had ever heard of and also has other lower leg injuries. But with all of that, it's still probably a nothing burger.
It kind of feels like a nothing burger. But anytime, like you mentioned, like when Porzingis is involved, it's never not a burger. There's some burger. Yeah. Even if it's like the junior cheeseburger from Wendy's, like the Dave's Jr., the one on the value menu.
There's something.
You have to be cautious. Like anytime he even like goes up for an alley-oop, you kind of wince now. But I feel like this is the kind of injury that you shrug your shoulders at. They have another 3 days off before Thursday when they play the Bulls at the Garden. So there's plenty of time for him to rest if he's going to play in that game. I don't really care if he plays in that game. That's a game where they shouldn't necessarily need Kristaps. Chicago is a whatever team. And, after that, they'll be in Chicago on Saturday. So if they want to push him back for a return that day, maybe. But
also Chicago
go ahead.
Shoots the second most threes out of any team in the NBA. So if they sit Porzingis for both of these games, again, like the PR hit of Porzingis is out with an injury doesn't feel good. But it's not like Chicago is going to press you down low. Like they're just going to let it rip from deep. So it's actually a great game or set of games for Porzingis to miss. Because then after that, I think do they play on the
Orlando.
23rd? Yeah, they have that game against Orlando. That would be a good game to have him back. Philly would be good. They kind of have a sneaky great schedule from here on out, entertainment wise.
Oh yeah, I mean, all of the Hornets, Wizards, Pistons games are all out of the Raptors, all out of the way through the first couple months. But just to get his direct what he said, I banged my heel a bit in the first quarter, not that major. Second one, it was pretty sensitive. I don't think it's anything major. So he's really pushing that it's not major. He was like smiling and giving the thumbs up as he walked down the tunnel. So if you didn't watch the game and you see Kristaps on the thumbnail or whatever Jack decided to do when he got his hands on this late at night, don't panic. It should be okay. Speaking of okay, Jason Tatum leads the way for the Celtics today. 28 points on 12 of 26 from the field, 2 of 9 from 3, not the greatest, but hits the glass hard for 12 boards. He was kind of really slow to start this game. He was 5 of 15 off the rip, so that means he was 7 of 9 or 11 to finish. Pretty good second half. They needed that because in the second half the Celtics came out super flat. They scored 12 points through the first 8 minutes of the third quarter, and they still managed to win the quarter. So it's good to see Tatum coming to play against a team like Washington. But, after missing, what was it, Thursday? Yeah, Thursday against the Pistons with the tendinopathy, which everybody thought was the end of the world. If we're talking about injuries, they were like, oh my gosh, he's out. And Joe told us it was nothing, and he's back today. It feels like he was pretty good in this one, pretty comfortable.
Joe told us it was nothing. And then when the PR team said, okay, interviews are over, everyone laughed because everyone's in on the joke. That much like Al Horford's. Well, did you see Al Horford did not sprain his big toe again? He just was out for rest.
Yes. Yeah, I was concerned about the big toe. It's lingered over the entire summer.
Lingered for so long.
It's like the same thing as the Embiid injury.
Well, so now I'm thinking this Jason Tatum knee tendinopathy is going to flare up at the most opportune times. By the way, if your Wi-Fi cuts out, do I just keep going or what?
You did a really good job that first time.
Oh boy,
if you can.
Yeah, I could go. Yeah, Jason, I have to imagine visiting the Wizards on a Sunday afternoon is the closest thing to a preseason game you can get in the regular season. It must be boring. It's not nighttime. It was like a 6 o'clock tip or whatever.
Yeah.
It's probably 50% full, and of that, it's 50% Celtics fans. So it's probably really confusing to go from. I mean, even a game against the Pistons, Celtics fans usually get up for. So it must be interesting. I was listening to. Have you listened to the daily podcast that The Athletic does now?
No, I haven't. What were they saying?
I first of all, I like it. They were talking about the games in Vegas for the Cup, and they were saying the vaunted NBA Cup, and they were saying it sounded on television like it was a bad crowd, but you have to keep in mind it's a stadium built for hockey, and those usually sound bad. I've never heard anyone say that before.
I've never heard that.
The TD Garden sounds great. If you watch a Celtics game, usually you can hear the crowd pretty good, and that is technically a hockey stadium. But I never heard that before, and because the team that we cover plays in a hockey stadium, I guess it's relevant to us. But anyways,
I mean, TD has great sound. If the broadcast allows the crowd noise to come through, it always sounds great. I feel like the crowd noise in Vegas, even if like they had fans that were there and excited to watch the games, like probably not a lot of like people that were Hawks fans that were like, let's go to Vegas because the Hawks are definitely going to win Group C and go on a cup run. Like, I just don't think that happened.
And also the game is at 1:30 in the afternoon local time. So
yes,
on a Saturday up against Army Navy.
I mean, I went last year and it was Bucks Pacers and it was not like a tremendous crowd. It's a neutral site. I don't know what kind of crowd juice they're expecting there. Certainly not what we got from the Celtics fans in Washington today.
No, I think that the eventual NBA expansion team in Las Vegas is going to be boring, uninterested, and perpetually overexposed because of its ownership group.
You think so? I feel like the people that support the hockey team there are really good fans.
Yeah, but I think that those are like Vegas has. My stepsister lives in Vegas. Like there is a real community there, and they're more akin to hockey fans. So they're like outdoors people. They're like to hike. They're like demographically closer to hockey fans. I think the basketball thing is supposed to just be for like come to our casino / watch this game. I think it's going to be a lot of transient people, a lot of Lakers fans. I think it's going to be in the same way that they can't get people in Los Angeles to go to NFL games. I think it's just going to be like that. Maybe I'm underestimating the basketball community in Las Vegas, but so far Aces games haven't really shown out. And anytime they put showcases in Las Vegas, it's not that interesting. I mean, it's more interesting than the Celtics Wizards game because that's what we're talking about instead.
Oh man, just Sunday afternoon Celtics. Celtics, by the way, become the most winningest road team in Washington in a single season. 3 wins on the road. Never been done before against the Wizards in the regular season.
Well, God bless the NBA Cup. What a factoid.
Just never get to play 3 games there. The other big story from this game, though, Payton Pritchard continues to be just on fire. It's really sad because the Celtics are so good that we don't have that much to talk about in terms of like, this is shocking. This is really great that this has emerged. But Payton Pritchard has become the dead horse that we all beat because nobody expected this kind of consistency in production from him when the season started. He comes out in the preseason, as he always does, and lights the world on fire. And then the games start to count and the points still start to stack up for Pritchard. This was another day. 15 points was a tame day for him. He only made threes, but he also hit the glass. 4 offensive rebounds for 11 total rebounds. He really will just do anything.
He had 11 rebounds?
Yeah.
What's his career high, you think, for rebounds in a game?
Oh, maybe that's it. I might have to look it up.
I got it. Well, you look it up. I'll talk.
Okay.
Well, I think, people bemoan, the NBA coverage, they don't even talk about the games. So we can split the difference. It's not just, I agree, there are tropes that we kind of like lean on throughout the NBA season, and Payton Pritchard's 6 Man of the Year is already we've already done it to death. So if listeners to How About Them C's are also feeling like, okay, I got it, but like, what do I do with that? I would commend you to watch Payton's footwork. What he's doing on offense is different because of the way he's using his feet in a really phenomenal way. And then to your point about the rebounding, look at how physical he gets with defenders. It's not just he doesn't get blown by anymore. He kind of dictates the terms of engagement. Speaking of which, the game within the game was Payton Pritchard versus Jordan Poole. And Jordan Poole at one point really mixed Pritchard, like Pritchard hit
put him on the ground. Very sad.
Jordan Poole like just taunted him and then didn't have an open shot because he took too long taunting, and then he had to pass it and the Wizards didn't score in the possession. It was quite embarrassing for Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole is one of those guys. If he was on my team, I don't think I would like him. Like, he would be the rare player that I'd be like, they need to trade this guy.
He's Nick Young again.
He's impossible to root for.
Yeah. Well, the video package of him seeing a certain set of fans courtside and then going nuts.
That is a little funny.
It always makes me laugh. The like thing he does with his teeth is insane. It's one of the like enduring memes we have in NBA culture. So if you're sick of the Pritchard 6 Man of the Year stuff, also same. It's not going anywhere. But so if a listener wants to get a little more specific, I would look at his footwork.
13
I feel like he travels a lot. That's his rebound number. How many times has he done 10 or more?
That I don't have, but I know the career high was against the Hawks 2 years ago or 2 seasons ago at the end. One of those garbage games at the end.
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty cool that now I'm looking it up. The Celtics play a style that guard rebounding is so important.
Yes.
Because Derek and Drew are also phenomenally involved in the glass. How many do you have tonight?
Pritchard had 11 rebounds.
It's the second most ever. And second time scoring 10 or more, or logging 10 or more.
I was actually thinking about this during the game today. I'm so happy you brought up the rebounding from especially the guards, right? Sam Hauser's not a guard, but he is used like a shooting guard, somebody that is just catch and shoot. I guess when they invented positions is kind of what they thought that position would be, but that's besides the point. The Celtics have optimized offensive rebounding because they shoot so many threes. They are hyper aware of long shot equals long bounce. And the 2 corner guys always intersect across the free throw line when the shot goes up to get back on defense. They have found a way to crash and make the offensive glass a real weapon without compromising transition defense. And it's actually pretty crazy to watch because they are
Yeah.
so good at getting those.
Yeah, they're somehow crashing the glass while also, to your point, partially getting back on defense. It's awesome. No, you'd be surprised how many guys just like watch the rebound go by if you sit and watch an NBA game. So just putting your feet in motion is a good thing, I suppose. Yeah, I was always worried about Pritchard being more of a featured player because the haunting experience of watching the Celtics have Isaiah and then Kemba and then Kyrie and all these small guards. Right. And he's listed at 6'1". I don't know.
The best out of all of them.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'3". I think I'm taller than Pritchard. I'm definitely taller than
You're definitely taller than him. I think you might be a lot taller than him. I'm not buying the 6'1" listing. But anyways, he's learned to not play like an undersized guy, not just on defense, but the rebounding and stuff like that. So no, he's not taking Drew Holiday's job. No, he shouldn't close games instead of Drew Holiday. Like, let's all pump the brakes here. But he is, I mean, he's a sixth man of the year for a reason. What are the odds? Do you guys have a partnered sports book? Is it Prize Picks?
It is Prize Picks, but I don't think Prize Picks does futures.
Yeah, I wonder what, I mean, go check out Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy app around, run your game. But
CLNS.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of odds you could get on that. Do you know Josh Allen is now a minus 750 to be MVP?
That's pretty crazy. The Pritchard,
so he's the MVP.
The Pritchard 6-man odds went from like plus 3,000-4,000 before the season, and then like as the first week went by, it was like plus 400. Now it's like he's the favorite. I remember looking at it like after he had a couple good games, and then now, I mean, imagine being sharp enough to bet that. That would be excellent. Jaylen Brown in this game, not exactly as sharp though. He looked a little rough. 4 of 14 from the field for 11 points. He did things besides score the basketball. He had 4 assists, 3 steals. Like, he did contribute in other ways, but it was a rough Jaylen game overall. Thankfully they didn't need him. This was a game against the Wizards who looked clueless out there for a lot of these games. But we didn't really see Jaylen back to that sharp form that he was in a little bit before they went in this big intermission after the Cup. I'm not concerned about it. I've seen better days. He was whatever. Derek White was the other guy that had a very effective role player game. Yeah. He was back to his old tricks. He's making threes. He was 5 of 10 from the field, 15 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, just all over the place. I would hate to play against Derek White.
Yeah, especially if you're on the Wizards. I mean, this is one of those games where like the Celtics are so unbelievably talented and deep and flexible and redundant that when they go against an opponent like this, the only times the game was like remotely close was when the Celtics either weren't hitting their shots or they were just kind of dog walking it. It's so fascinating to see what will happen in the future of this ball club by way of the ownership or whatever. But for now, yeah, I know it's December, but like other than Oklahoma City, I just like I can't. There's no one whose roster is even close to on par with the Celtics. It's staggering.
It's hilarious. I mean, just going down the list, like this is usually how we do these post-game recordings. We just kind of like go through the box score, talk about these guys, but like they had their top 7 guys in this game in double figures. Luke ended up with 7. Sam Hauser looks like he's back. He's making threes again. He hit the offensive glass like we talked about. Like he had a pretty impactful game off the bench. He was a team high plus 27. Like they just are pulling these guys out of the hat every single time. Like two-way guy, Hauser originally. Cornette, two-way guy, Pritchard, late first-round pick that they sat on the bench for 3 years, and then he eventually blossomed into the 6-man of the year candidate. Brad Stevens has done such a tremendous job building this team, and Wick has done a very good job funding it until, you know, the chair was pulled out from underneath him this summer, and they were like, hey, enough of that, sell the team. But
I'm seeing R&B edits of Drew Peterson on Instagram. I don't know what witchcraft they're doing in Maine to get these guys ready to play with the Boston Celtics, but it's insane.
Drew, actually, I think none of the main guys made the trip, so that's why.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just on any given night.
Oh yeah,
a dude who should not be getting meaningful minutes with the defending champions, just like putting the ball on the floor, like making plays.
And they're always ready. Like Peterson has actually been pretty good when he's been put in the game over the last 2 weeks. I think. like anytime he's out there, it doesn't feel like he's getting overly targeted on defense. He does a good job of making good decisions with the ball. He's made a good amount of his catch and shoot looks. He's even showed some creativity off the dribble. He makes good passes. Like they have prepared him to play minutes when he gets in the game. It's unfortunate that he didn't get to make the trip because this would have been a perfect game for Drew Peterson to get some real minutes. But we did get to see a little bit of a flash of some of the end of the bench. Stay ready, guys. We saw 2 minutes and 22 seconds of Jaden Springer, Jordan Walsh, Xavier Tillman. Xavier Tillman, a big number one in Jack's heart player. Jack, who is not here today, but Jack, who did send me a statement after I informed him that Xavier Tillman did have an open look from three, elected not to take that open look, drove in the paint, got double teamed, and then turned the ball over. Jack says, I have heard about Xavier Tillman's actions through a source. I would be lying if I said I was not disappointed, but today is not the day I lose hope. Confidence is a killer. It's real. It hurts. X needs to shoot the ball. It's as clear as ever, yet he continues to hesitate. If it persists, his days in green are numbered. Actually, it might be very true, but he will push forward. I will push forward. If X has 1,000 fans, I am one. If he has 100 fans, I am one. If he has 10 fans, I'm one. If he has one fan, it's me. If he has no fans, I am dead. Jack.
They should not trade Xavier Tillman. Like,
I don't think so either.
Absolutely, you need to see if he can be the Al Horford replacement. Just because he has a bad 2 months does not mean that the project is over. There are more meaningful ways to recuperate draft picks or cap or whatever. Please do not trade Xavier Tillman. The future of the Boston Celtics looks very different when the salary and the tax bill are $500 million. And that's not me being dramatic. That's actually an underestimate of what the number is going to be. Having $2 million worth of Xavier Tillman on the bench is going to be a big deal. So enough of that nonsense of trading Xavier Tillman. Please don't do that. But Xavier Tillman,
I'm not particularly for
please
it.
pull the trigger and shoot the ball.
Jack is right in the statement, though. Like, he clearly is not playing confident, and it's affecting. Like, Xavier Tillman is somebody who we saw make a massive three-pointer in the finals. We've seen him be hot in the preseason from three. He was pulling them in Abu Dhabi like he was the most confident guy on the team, just pulling up from the top of the key, wing, corner, didn't matter. Now he's seeing these looks, and he's like, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't. And it's tough to watch.
We talked about this on the Celtics Thought podcast. I wonder if he would take a longer stint in Maine just to get more meaningful minutes. It feels like that's a back. I mean, before he was a Celtic, he was a contributor to the Grizzlies in the postseason. Like, he's a bona fide role player or even starter at some points of his career. So a G League stint might feel like a backslide, but getting consistent burn might be really valuable for him because he's not going to get it here. I mean, maybe if Porzingis does miss these Chicago games and they want to rest Al for one of them and just like punt on the game and see what happens. Because they had the same record as last season, and last season they still like desperately had something to prove. They don't have to prove anything anymore. So it's great that they're 21-5. They don't need to be 21-5. Hell, when they went to the finals in 2022, their record was 500 until like January.
So terrible.
Yeah. I'm not quitting on X. If Xavier Tillman has 2 fans, it's me and Jack apparently.
Okay. I'll let him know. I'll relay that. He'll find out later, but I'll let him know just in case.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there. Celtics beat the Wizards by a lot, 112-98. It really wasn't that close. The whole second half was mostly a joke. Even if the Celtics were dicking around for a whole quarter, they still won that quarter. Thank you very much to Cam for joining me. Definitely needed help today. Jack, not Cam, not Jack. Cam, tell him where to find you.
You can find me at the Celtics Lab podcast and on Celtics Wire. Did Jack do the advent calendar today?
He did not. He didn't. What a fool.
He really is a Grinch. He is.
The advent calendar is absolutely sold, Jack, because there's just a bunch of chocolates at the bottom of the box. Like, they've fallen out of their place.
That's hilarious. We have I think when I was on How About Them Celtics last week, I was in the dining room. I showed off my Star Wars advent calendar.
Oh, you one-upped Jack. I like that. You should bring the Star Wars calendar to the game.
I wasn't. No, it has like all the little Lego figurines. It's Lego Star Wars. Sorry.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's even better.
The cat, our cats was just like sitting on it, so it became relevant because it was in the background. I was going to let him have his moment, but Anyways, you can find me on the Celtics Slot podcast.
All right, Kim. Thank you very much. Thank you, the listener, watcher, very much. You can find us here on the channel. Make sure you leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought of Celtics Wizards. Subscribe, hit the bell, because Jack and I are here every day, or one of us and somebody else is here every single day with new content. Full pods Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday game recaps like this one the morning after each game, and other videos in between. To keep you up to date with all things Celtics, you can find us on Spotify and Apple as well. All pods and recaps are up there for you. So if you want the audio versions, give us a follow. They'll go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very much. Help other people find us that way. Email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We read your emails every single recording. We will be recording today, Monday, as you are listening to this. So get them in if you want to be read on the next pod. The socials are How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is Jackson1NBA. Cam's Twitter is @CTabatabai. And mine is @SamLaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.